Welcome to The Late Show, everybody. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. Look, I don't know. Hey, friends. I don't know what you all are talking about, but everybody I talk to is talking about what Donald Trump doesn't want to talk about. So let's talk about it. It being the conspiracy surrounding his old dancing buddy, Jeffrey Epstein. There you go.
He's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk, he's a dog, he's a pig, he's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming society, doesn't pay his taxes. He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country.
Donald Trump has gone by a lot of names: entrepreneur, entertainer, and agitator. However, Robert Niro and Stephen Colbert noticed, removed all of the branding and reduced it to an act, which is far easier. They didn't see Trump as the fearless outsider or daring maverick he portrayed himself as. He was just the loudest person in the room, trying to convince millions of people that his useless goods was worthless. The salesman lost his spectacle after their roast revealed the illusion.
Was buddies with a pedophile. On Friday, the Wall Street Journal dropped an absolute bombshell. They are reporting that in 2003, Trump sent a birthday letter to Jeffrey Epstein for his 50th birthday that was sexually suggestive. Yeah, it's the most inappropriate birthday gift since Carvel debuted Fudgy the Hung Like a Whale.
America's Philistine president has had himself appointed head of one of our premier cultural institutions. He has cut funding and support to the arts, humanities, and education. And now he has announced a 100% tariff on films produced outside the U.S. Let that sink in for a minute. You can't put a price on creativity, but apparently you can put a tariff on it. Of course, this is unacceptable. All these attacks are unacceptable.
Please click the bell symbol and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this video. Caller made fun of the performance as if it were an endless late-night spoof. Together, they destroyed the illusion, portraying Trump not as a titan of politics, but rather as a figure so dependent on performance that he confused cheers for leadership. Niro approached the situation with the unadulterated rage of someone who detests cheap theatrics. Colbert quickly attacked the perception of Trump as a negotiator. He presented him as a man who never really completed anything, rather than as a brilliant negotiator.
For years, before he was, reelected, and recently, since they all got into office, a bunch of high-ranking people in Trump's administration have kept promising to release the files surrounding Jeffrey Epstein, his mysterious clients, and his suspicious death. But now, suddenly, for reasons that I legally cannot think of, Donald Trump seems desperate to stop us from knowing who Jeffrey Epstein's clients were.
Colbert made fun of Trump's record, calling it a cemetery of failing businesses wrapped in gilded lettering. From casinos that fell apart like poorly shuffled cards to universities that defrauded students with false promises. His portrayal of Trump's alleged business acumen reduced it to a smoke, mirror, and bankruptcy court magic show. Colbert contended that every assertion of accomplishment was equivalent to witnessing a man maintain that. His sinking ship was a luxurious cruise liner until you noticed that the passengers were already using life jackets to escape.
According to the Wall Street Journal, Trump's letter featured several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with heavy marker. In the drawing, a pair of small arcs denotes the woman's breasts, and the future president's signature is a squiggly Donald below her waist, mimicking pubic hair. Do you know what that means? That means Donald Trump has drawn pubic hair on every executive order.
Niro gave this image a darker undertone by attacking Trump as a threat as well as a failure. He presented Trump as a man who could not live in a room without conflict and who thrived on upheaval. Niro saw Trump as an arsonist rather than a leader, someone who starts political fires merely to claim the hero title while standing in front of the flames. Niro maintained that the bluster, the tweets, and the never-ending indignation cycle were characteristics of weakness rather than power. What the world perceived as authority was actually insecurity disguised with exclamation points and capital letters.
It makes me so angry that this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has. He talks how he wants to punch people in the face. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face. This is somebody that we want for president? I don't think so. What I care about is the direction of this country. And what I'm very, very worried about is that it might go in the wrong direction with someone like Donald Trump. If you care about your future, vote for.
Colbert returned to the topic of Trump's fixation with his appearance. He ridiculed the fixation on crowd sizes and the incessant urge to make sure that everything was the biggest, greatest, and most exquisite. Colbert explained it as if he were a kid holding a crown made of crayons, writing the greatest thing in the world on every available surface. He emphasized that Trump's self-promotion was a sign of someone who was afraid of being forgotten rather than one of confidence. Colbert claimed that the constant boasting wasn't about accomplishments, but more about frantically bridging the gap that arises when you truly have nothing to offer.
Suddenly, for reasons that I legally cannot think of, Donald Trump seems desperate to stop us from knowing who Jeffrey Epstein's clients were. In fact, yesterday, he said he was surprised anyone even cares about the guy.
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life.
That sentence was never a big factor in terms of word.
Niro made the same theme more difficult for himself. Trump's fixation on his image was offensive in addition to being ridiculous. Despite having a great deal of power and influence, this man spent his days worrying about magazine covers and TV ratings, as if running the nation were just another episode of a reality show. Niro ridiculed the pettiness of a leader who gauged his value by the headlines. He likened Trump's style of leadership to directing a subpar film. Unending takes, ridiculous stories, loud explosions, and the director's continual yelling to yell throughout the set how amazing he was. Colbert jokingly remarked that the purpose of the teleprompter was to remind him of his initial location rather than to assist him in delivering thoughts. Colbert suggested that each rally address resembled a comedy set devoid of a punchline, with the exception that Trump's audience wasn't laughing along with him. They were making fun of him.